It's Ivory Coast 1, Mozambique 0. The defending champions Ivory Coast kicked off their title defense with a hard but struggling 1-0 victory over Mozambique at the stadium, Marrakech Stadium. Manchester United Amad Diallo scored the only goal early in the second half as Elephants dominated possession around 58% and created numerous chances but lacked clinical finishing against the resilient Mozambique side. Mozambique dominated most of the second half time, but again they lacked what we call clinical finishing, had many opportunities within the box, but they lacked a very good finishing strategy that would have resulted into multiple goals and maybe them winning the match against um, Ivory Coast. First half goalless despite Ivory Coast pressure. Chances included shots from Frank Cassier and Ghislaine Conan. Mozambique's goalkeeper Hernan Suluane Ermani made key saves. The Mamba stayed compact, limiting clear opportunities that were created by the Ivory Coast. At 49th minute, that is when Amad Diallo broke the deadlock with a neat side-footed finish after a headed assist from Kessie on a cross from Gueladu. A composed effort following his earlier misses. Like drama, Mozambique appealed for a penalty denied by VAR review. The Ivory Coast countered dangerously. Cassie hesitated one-on-one and substitute Vakun Bayo headed wide from a Kessie cross and produced a brilliant save to keep it 1-0. Guinea Gatana forced a late serve from Yania Fofana. As usual, we can't talk about analysis if we don't talk about some of the mistakes done within the match. And we start with the team Ivory Coast that most people wished and thought that they'll be scoring many goals because of the experience when it comes to such a competitions, but maybe they've let some people down with the play and the game that they've had. Poor game. A good game, but not good in terms of utilizing the opportunities created within the Mozambique's danger box. Poor finishing in promising positions. So we've talked about the same. We saw many of them go there, going into the box and miss a lot within the box because they lacked a proper strategy. Cases indecision on a break, bias unmarked header wide, multiple off-target shots, and over elaboration in the final third despite high box touches. There was 25 box touches for Team Ivory Coast versus the Mozambique's 6 touches within the box of Ivory Coast. We talk about a solution to this. They need to increase that is ruthlessness, take early shots or simpler passes in transition that will help them so much when it comes to using the opportunity or utilizing the very opportunities that they have to make sure they are scoring more goals in case of anything else. Because in group stages, sometimes goal difference might decide who is leading and who is going home. So as earlier as this, you need to get more goals to make sure that you're stamping and creating a very good foundation to make sure that you won't miss anything. Number 2, they got to utilize substitutes earlier for fresh legs against deep defenses. And number 3, they got to build on midfield control. Kaisi Sankare to exploit wide areas more decisively. Team Mozambique, what are some of the mistakes? They had very limited attacking threat, the few shots, minimal box entries. There is against Ivory Coast. Number 2, over reliance on defenses. Defense left transition ineffective because the coordination was not as good as enough to make sure that they're pushing forward. And then occasional lapses in concentration on set pieces. Counters nearly cost more, and they would have scored more goals. Ivory Coast would have scored more goals if at all they had a strategy on that. That is what they really need to check on. With the solutions for Team Mozambique, moving to the next game, they need to maintain compact shape, successful in frustrating champions, but improve on counter speed with players like Jenny Gatano Jenny Chatano, and then they got to maximize on set pieces and involve veterans, e.g. the 42-year-old Dominica to be substituted in within a good time to make sure there's a very good composure. And then they need more of disciplined, credible results that is build confidence for the first ever AFCON win. Ivory Coast secured 3 points, but will need sharper finishing against tougher Group F opponents between Cameroon and Gabon. Mozambique showed resilience, earning praise for the diligence despite the loss. If this isn't the match you meant, then Mozambique have much to do when it comes to this match and Africa Cup of Nations. As always, the drill is very simple. You don't leave without subscribing, because that is the only way you keep us on air to bring you such an analysis as we continue with the Africa Cup of Nations. Your host, Alan.